The most important thing for me for the conference right now is two things. One is we have an application strategy that we're a multi-application company. This is really important. A lot of our customers still only think that we have one application. And when I went through the focus groups for the keynote, still most don't know that we have a customer service and support application, that we have a marketing application, that we have these other capabilities. And you could hear it in the audience. You could see a lot of ahas, and because I kept coming back over and over again to the multi-application concept. And today, of course, we have launched the platform with a full stack and renamed it, rebranded it, and introduced the Visualforce technology, which you saw was extremely important. So that's another issue, which is kind of what you're referring to. But that's the platform technology, the platform vision, the platform direction. That, again, customers need continuous communication and reinforcement and education and evangelism. It's really getting across that we're a multi-application, multi-category company. This is really a major focus for this event here. So we want to explain and demonstrate the full range of applications, and we wanted to explain and demonstrate the platform. Now, why is that? Well, we might have a customer, and I'll give you an example. I'm not going to name the customer. Where maybe we have a 10 or 20% penetration of the customer is very good. We call that, our Trojan horse strategy. We're in there, it's good. But the reality is that we might run that, customer sales organization. We may or may not run their customer service support call center. We may or may not run their marketing organization. But we certainly don't, run their truck drivers that are delivering their products around the world, which is a huge number of their employees. We're not on their factory floor. We're not on their shop floors. We're not, in their warehouses with their pickers. We're not, we're not doing the content automation or all the things that kind of John Chambers kind of talked about in his speech. So, that's our opportunity here. Our opportunity is, you can see how many customers we have here, which is awesome, plus partners, and we're essentially doing our best to communicate to them what our total strategy is, because, Bruce, the reality is, you're so much farther than the customers. You're jumping to what about the components and how many and on and on and on, and I'm with you, right? I'm with you on the technology, right? I'm pacing you on the technology. But the customers, we have to have an Asian mind at Salesforce to take a long view. It's taken us almost a decade of work just to get the position that we have in SFA. People forget, Oracle is, 3 decades old, started in 1977, And SAP, I think, was started in 1974 or something like that, right? And Microsoft started in 77 also. They've been at it for a long period of time. They've been able to been patient, consistent, focused to create, these client-server markets, which are, enormous today. For us, we're trying to create these application markets and platform markets. We're trying to create partner communities. We are trying to create evangelists. And it's all of these things together that really sum up what we're trying to do here, which is it. So when we talk about, well, you've got 50 components and are you going to 200, we could have a product discussion and we can walk you through it, and I'm sure that at the end of the day, you'll be very excited. The reality is, and the big story here is, for that keynote presentation, which was a transformational event for a lot of the customers, and I'm sure even for the people in this room, we still, even though we have the technology, even though we've maybe even had the technology, we're still out there saying, hey, look, the world is changing and you've got to change with it, and here's how you're going to change. Because look, John Chambers says you got to change, you got to change, here's your answer. And this is where our mind is at. So on, day in and day out, that's where my mind is. And also just making sure our own employees, this was a major event for our employees too. We want to make sure our account executives are here to also kind of getting up to speed, with this current and state-of-the-art messaging. Within 90 days, every account executive we have worldwide, every systems engineer will be able to do that keynote presentation exactly as we did it. It was a very, very complex and hard presentation to put together, the hardest we've ever done. So we have really grinded for the last 3 weeks, because when we rolled it out the first time, customers did not get it. They were like, whoa, because a lot of these ideas, user interface as a service, you know, I'm the only one out there who's ever used that term, platform as a service. You know, these are new ideas. And when you're talking about new ideas, and these are not consumer products, right? But we have people there, and I'm sure you're meeting these customers. We have the CIOs there for the first time. We have the guys who, and the gals that work for the CIOs are there, you know? We've got a lot of these evangelical and leaders, and it's amazing, you know, what's happening here at this conference. So, you know, at the end of the conference, we will have manifested, if all goes well, a whole new energy, you know, for Salesforce, for who we are and what we can do for the customers. And we've introduced a major new brand along with it. So we have our hands full. And whether we're at 50 components or 100 or 200 or 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, which is obviously we've got to get to end, the reality is, even though I get it, and I built my paid time off application, I do not take it for granted for 1 second that anyone else gets it. You know what I mean? Because it's a tough road still. It's tough out there.
Okay.